them that they can still join in the Zoom room. And we'll also be streaming this on YouTube. So if ever they will have a hard time logging in, they can always join in from YouTube. So Jill is from Santa Mesa, Hannah is from CDO, Melanie says good afternoon. Susan is calling from Bontoc Mountain Province. Jovi is in QC. Pauline, hi Pauline, good afternoon. Thank you for also making time for us this afternoon, and a magical afternoon to you too. Okay, so let's just give our other participants another minute. And when you're ready, can you please type in ready in the chat so that we can start this afternoon's event. For those of you who are having audio problems, I think Alvin is encountering audio problems. Don't forget to click connect to audio if you're using mobile, or even when you're using your desktops or laptops. And kindly check if your volume is not set to mute, if your audio is not set to mute. Okay, so last 30 seconds, I can see that a lot of people are very ready for us to start this afternoon. Ayan. So for the past 2 days, ang dami na nating natutunan. You saw the Filipino Employee Wellbeing Report. You saw the results of our survey. And apart from the survey, we also share with you the 4 domains of Filipino employee well-being. And we're happy to share with you more tips this afternoon. Okay, so I think we're ready to start. Again, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Kumusta ka, Empleyadong Pilipino 2022 Filipino Employee Wellbeing Summit Day 3. I'm Gabby. So medyo matagal akong nawala sa ating free webinars, but I'm officially back. I'm Gabby and I'm the Learning and Development Officer in Positive Workplaces. So for those of you who are new, and alam ko na for those of you who are not new anymore, alam nyo na kung ano yung mission ng Positive Workplaces. So we co-create cultures that enhance the well-being of the Filipino workforce. And we are able to make that possible by creating positive cultures through what we call the positivity ripples. And it all starts with you. So again, thank you for making time for yourself this afternoon, because alam nyo, minsan, di ba, maiisip natin na bakit pa ba ako manunood ng isang well-being webinar? Parang pagod naman ako the whole day. But what you don't know is that whenever you engage in these kinds of activities, you're able to learn more on how to improve your well-being and its different aspects. Kasi di ba dati akala natin, well-being, mental health, magpapahinga lang ako, okay na. But well-being also entails work, as we have seen in the past days. So we want to work with that. We want to work on that with you guys. So again, when you are able to lead yourself, you're able to influence others and lead others as well. And when you are able to do that, hindi mo mamamalayan na, ito na pala yung kultura namin. And that's how you make positive workplaces. So just a few reminders before we start. For those of you who are logging in from your desktops or laptops, make sure na you have another tab ready, because we are going to use engaging tools like Mentimeter for this afternoon. And if you are on your mobile devices, make sure na you are ready to open your camera and just scan the QR code so that you can open the app we are using. And then just prepare a pen and paper, or if you have any note-taking tools with you, just keep them open because grabe, I was just going through the slides of our speakers this afternoon, and kahit ako, we've been in the well-being industry for quite some time now. Ang dami ko pa ring natututunan, and I'm sure you will too. And of course, we highly encourage engagement with the audience. So please be respectful whenever you engage in the chat, whenever you send a message to our speakers this afternoon. Okay, so I think we're having audio problems as I can see in the chat box. So our tech team will help you configure that. So for Maria Teresa, Alvin, even Sheila. Pero quick check lang, can you hear me? Are there people who hear the audio? Can you click yes if you can? Okay, so I think most can. So for those of you who are having audio problems, our tech team will be sending you a message and assist you on how you can address the audio problem. Pero quick tip lang, alis kayo sa hall for a while and then just log in again. Okay, so I think most of you can hear loud and clear naman yung audio. So I think maybe it's a connectivity problem, or just check your device's volume, or tingnan nyo kung nakaset to mute yung audio nyo. Okay, and just send us a message if you need any help. Last part, again, evaluation forms. We hope that you can stay all throughout. We will be having 2 sets of topics this afternoon. So please stay because we are going to give out your evaluation forms at the end of the webinar. And we are only going to give the link for those who are only in the Zoom room. So if ever you are joining in from YouTube, you can still join us here in the Zoom meeting room. We have 1,000 capacity. So invite nyo lang yung friends nyo. Kung nasa YouTube kayo, lipat kayo sa Zoom. And we hope that your connection can hold until we finish this afternoon. Be mindful of the name that you will put, ano yung certificate na sasagutan nyo, and be sure to answer within 30 minutes because we are going to accommodate responses until 30 minutes after the event. Okay, so I guess we're ready to start our 3rd day. If you are ready, can you give me a heart reaction, a thumbs up? Kahit quick thumbs up lang, may nakita na akong 3 hearts, 5, may nag-thumbs up na din. Amy Bell sends a heart in the chat box. Ayan, thank you so much, guys. And let's start. Quick recap, we were able to discuss with you the Filipino Employee Wellbeing Report in 2022, where we were able to get data from at least 800 people, and they answered these key items. So just a quick review, you can just read up on this, and we have uploaded the results on our website, and you can check those out. We also shared with you the 4 domains of Filipino employee well-being that we have discovered in the well-being scale we are developing, and that is character, career, contentment, and connectedness. And last week, we were with Nikki, Kevin, and Kay, and they were able to discuss different tips, different frameworks that will help enhance your character and connectedness domains. And this afternoon, I'm very, very happy to introduce to you our speakers who will be talking about the last 2 domains. So that's contentment and career well-being. And first up, we are going to talk about hacks for career well-being with Rhea Gadi. So Rhea is a trusted solutions architect who enjoys co-creating with clients their people strategy to transform the vision for their organizations into a reality. Prior to joining Great Places to Work, she was the managing director and strategic client partner of Development Dimensions International Philippines Incorporated. She has more than 25 years experience in leadership, human resources, and organizational development, consulting work with private and public organizations across various industries in the Philippines and ASEAN. Rhea is a certified transformative coach, a mentor to aspiring HR leaders, and a volunteer facilitator for the Katatagan Resilience Program for Wellbeing. When offline, she enjoys being a soccer mom and connects with the environment by running and recycling bottles and plastics, saving the planet one bottle at a time. It is my pleasure to introduce to you our first speaker this afternoon, Miss Rhea. Can we all give her a virtual round of applause?
Thanks, Gabby. Pati ako pumalakpak. Hindi ko marinig. Nawala ko sa kaba. So thank you for that very generous introduction. So maraming salamat. Another way that I also want to introduce myself, total para chill lang tayo ngayon. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I often describe myself as a triathlete. TRY. Why triathlete? I just try and try. Kung hindi matutunan, okay, then try again. So it's a privilege for me to be with you today. I know it's a holiday. So alam ko marami na medyo busog at hitik na ang ating kaalaman ng inyong kaalaman in the past two sessions for the from the Wellbeing Summit. So maybe I'll just quickly upload lang. I'll be sharing my deck. So, sige, habang nagpapapuso kayo at nagpapaulan kayo ng mga emojis and thumbs up, sige, yan. Okay, so let me just quickly do my screen share. Okay. Oops, hold on. Napunta na siya sa dulo, hindi pa nga tayo nagsisimula. Minsan ganun talaga ang buhay, ano? Talagang you start from the end to know where you started. Allow you to go back. Okay, sige. It's going to be a conversation. I was telling Gabby who will help me and manage me throughout the conversation today. So I invite everyone to come into this session as a conversation. So I was sharing with Gabby and the Positive Workplaces team that my role is actually just to share what I have learned from my own experience and put some structure to it. So there's a lot of, I hope my stories can inspire you. You'll find some nuggets of wisdom as we go ahead with a conversation for today. Tama ba, Gabby? So si Gabby ang aking partner. So partner, may mga ibang ano ka pa ba putting into context before we start?
I think I'm also very ready na to listen in.
Okay. Sige. So ano ba yung career? Sige. But before I go into the main content, let me just indulge me and let's walk back memory lane. Ako medyo malayo ang aking ano. And when you think about it, in the chat, what did you want to become when you grow up? Think about kindergarten, grade school. Sige nga. So in the chat box, pakisulat lang diyan. What did you want to become when you wanted to grow up? Ako, ang unang memory ko, gusto ko maging madre. Yan, maging madre, maging nun. So can you just put in the chat, pakisulat diyan, ano yung mga ambition nyo? Ano yung mga paglaki ko gusto kong maging? Ano yon? O Gabi, pati ikaw, mag-ano ka rin dyan. Maglagay ka rin dyan. Gusto nyo maging artista, gusto nyo maging newscaster, gusto nyo maging barangay tanod. Tingnan nga natin. And then I'll just ask Gabby or somebody from the team just to read aloud ano yung mga nakikita nating mga inspirations nung maliliit tayo.
Ayan. May nakita ko yung isa, pareho daw kayo gustong maging madre sa bahay ampunan. But we're
Diba?
Oo, ang daming doktor. Feeling ko ito yung mga generation na yung nanay at tatay natin.
Oo. Ikaw, Gabby, nung mas maliit ka, nung bata ka, anong gusto mong maging paglaki?
Same ako, gusto ko maging doctor. Parang magne-nurse ako kasi yung lola ko din was a nurse. Pero magtutuloy ako ng doctor. So, ang daming ganun yung...
Oo, ang dami, di ba? Nakakatuwa. O, sige nga. So, kung yung mga inambition natin nung bata tayo, let's say, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 to 15 years ago, 20 years ago. So, lahat kayo nakasulat na? Nakita na natin dyan.
Yeah.
They
Ang
have
dami.
to. Ang dami. Ang dami. Nung ano kayo ha. Okay. So that was many, many, many years ago. Ako many gazillion years ago. Now think about, look at yourselves now. Think about the work that you have or the career that you have. Pareho ba? Obviously ako, hindi ako madre. So, hindi ako nakapag-madre. So think about, as in, pareho pa ba? So maybe just to show of hands, kahit sa emoji, how many of you link pa rin yung mga, when I want to grow up, pareho pa rin sa current career or work nyo ngayon? Sige nga, patingin. Ang dami ko. Bakit? Marami ba? Maraming ano?
Kaming no.
Oo,
So far,
oo,
no.
oo. Ngayon 'di ba Christmas reunion ang daming mga nagkakamustahan. Yung mga barkada ko sabi, "Anyari?" So, sige nga in the chat box or you can, if anyone wants to unmute. So bakit no? Ikaw Gabi, bakit no? Anong naganap?
I tried doing nursing, pero when I was there, I realized na it's not the work I want to do.
Oo, oo, oo. Ano pa? Anyone else from the chat? Kahit 108 kayo, tatanungin ko kayo. Akala nyo, hindi ko kayo tatanungin. Ha? Tatanungin ko pa rin kayo. That's the beauty of virtual learning. Yan.
Si
Ano
Nikki naman
nangyari?
hindi madaling maging painter.
Oo, oo. So, I like what Gabby said. I'll build on what she said, the operative word. I realized. So just imagine from the time that you started to create or shape yung what you wanted to become when you grow up. Siyempre maraming mangyayari, maraming magaganap, maraming nagganap. And then there are certain points, there are realizations or there are situations that would influence or shape where you want to go. Diba? So, but I do know some people who are really focused, like my husband, great, parang 5 years old pa lang yata siya. Gusto ko maglaki ko, gusto maging doktor. Talagang on track, on track. He was really focused on that. And I realized, one of the things, yung tinatanong ko nga siya, "O daddy, bakit ba talagang," bakit ba talagang hindi ka na-divert? Hindi ka na off track? And it was because there was a deeper sense of passion. Doktor siya eh, tawag yung anak ko Manghihilot. He's an orthopedic surgeon. But he really enjoys and love helping people through healing. So, nanghihilot nga eh, mga boto. So, tawag ng anak ko sa kanya Manghihilot. So, talaga, he never siyang na-off track. So, he achieved what he wanted to become even when he was a child. But it's not the same for all of us. And what I wanted to share with you today and also to listen to your own stories and experiences is where you are now. It has still something to do where you wanted to go. To some, nasa na ba yung go na yan? Hindi pa natin naaaninagan. And that's fine. But for those who are employed, those who are working as a freelance consultant, those who are studying, so embrace this moment as we go through the conversation in the context of career. And I also wanted to share this model. This is a model by Great Place to Work, and it is our for all model. And in great workplaces and the best of the best, what we have seen is that focus on maximizing human potential. And that is where I see careers, your careers, would be central and core. And what we're saying in our own research, these great workplaces, the best of the best, they have a daily practice of values. There's a very strong foundation of trust, and there's a strong group of leaders rallying the way. And when all these are put together, the intent to maximize human potential is really, really great. And when everyone's potential is discovered, innovation is not too far behind, and financial outcome is also not too far behind. So that's where career would come in. How organizations, you and your companies work together to maximize your human potential. And that's where career would come in. Um, Ako, ang personal philosophy ko about career, and this is also my advocacy. If there is a philosophy on career, it focuses on leadership. Ako naniniwala ko everyone has a potential to become a good leader. And you don't need a title for it. So in my kailan ko na-discover 'yan, hindi naman kahapon. But in my course of working, I was a reluctant leader. I never wanted leadership responsibility. Parang nangangati ako pag binibigyan ako ng role. But somehow it evolved into, okay, so my purpose became to help people achieve that potential of leading others without even a formal title. So that became my advocacy, and that kinarir ko siya. So kinarir ko talaga siya. So that's how um my concept of career evolved over time. And sinabi ko kinarir, 'di ba? So kayo ba, kinakarir niyo ba yung career ninyo? So where you are at now, 'di ba, we're so focused on performing, we want to be the best in our work, we want to make sure that we meet our deliverables. Come performance evaluation, we want to be able to tell and show the company, hey, we contributed. I wanted to show this photo of a playground. And in the context of kinakareer, there was a point in my own career na talagang kinarir ko yung career ko. And I was a new operational leader then. I was leading the country operations. And my son was about, I think, 8 years old, 9 years old. So nasa playground siya. Ano, may ibang bata. So nasa swing yata. And then, yung kalaro niya, sabi sa kanya, oh, what does your dad do? Yabang. Oh, my dad's a doctor. Yan. Oh, what does your mom do? Oh, she's online. So, parang online, pero ngayon naka-online. At that time parang that was 2000, early 2010, 2015. And it sounded funny. Oh, my mom's online. Trabaho ba yun? But I realized, ang description ng anak ko sa trabaho ko being online because I was always traveling. I was always out. I missed a lot of Halloween trick or treats. I missed, parang there's always every year I would have to go out of the country. And I miss a lot of those moments with my son. And it was frustrating for me, nakakalungkot. Parang isang araw nakita ko, ay, ang laki na nung anak ko. So parang, saan nangyari? And hindi ko na siya mababalik. So, in that sense, balancing my personal life, work life, and career life was not very easy. And I needed the help of my own boss and the company to make that happen for me, to find that balance. Hindi siya madali, but it's possible. And I wanted to share this quote by Indra Nooyi. And I like her story. There is a book. I encourage you to read it. So what she's saying, Indra Nooyi is one of the to me, inspiring CEO. She's very focused. She's very driven. She was the CEO of Pepsi Cola, and she said, at the end of the day, don't forget that you're a person. Don't forget that you're a mother. Don't forget that you're a wife. Don't forget that you're a daughter. Eh, totoo rin nga naman. Pag the moment na pag sara mo ng laptop mo, 'di ba, parang may family ka, magluluto ka pa ng hapunan, maglilinis ka pa ng banyo, bibili ka pa ng pandesal kinabukasan, magtuturo ka pa ng assignment ng anak mo. So, there is your personal and family life, but it's hard to separate it from your work. But how do you do that when you want to build your career, when you want to make sure that you are growing in your career? So parang how do you find that balance? And what I've seen in many organizations is really the commitment to make sure that everyone in the organization experiences that balance, especially in the context of well-being. So a lot of organizations would really invest in well-being. And in the great workplaces, they were already investing in well-being strategically even before the pandemic. Iba lang siguro ang tawag natin. So mas intentional and mas obvious lang ngayon dahil nagkaroon ng pandemya. So everyone was into well-being. But before, iba lang siguro ang tawag. May mga wellness, work-life balance. But many organizations have already started to do it. And why? They saw the long-term value of investing in well-being. And one of the studies that we did, this one was together with Johns Hopkins, and we saw that those organizations who are very intentional, very deliberate in creating proactively well-being strategy as a strategy have 3 times more likely for people intend to stay, and 3 times more likely that your own employees will recommend. They will talk about it. In fact, when I looked at some of the studies around talent acquisition, ang ano namang hinahanap ngayon? May well-being ba dyan? Kamusta ang well-being dyan? May burnout ba dyan? Yan ay yung mga tinatanong eh. So maybe just to ask those who are, meron ba dito mga in charge of hiring, nag-i-interview, do you have job candidates who would ask about your well-being or kung may work-life balance? Sige nga, pa-thumbs up, kaya papuso nga dyan. Meron ba? Yan na ba yung trend ngayon? Yes, sir. Oo. Yan, yung mga HR, 'di ba? So tayo, as HR, naku, napapakamot tayo. Meron ba kami no'n? Teka lang ha, tingnan ko sa manual. So, minsan hindi mulat eh, 'di ba? So even that, from a talent acquisition standpoint, we have to evolve because the needs of our future talent and the right talent, hinahanap na 'to. So, even in another study that we did in the US, ang Gen Z, naku, ayan na. Kasi you can't not but focus on Gen Z and the millennials. Eh, sila na yung next line eh. Ako, pa-retire na ako eh. So parang what are they looking for? And what we found in the study is all these 5 items, but including they want to have a psychologically and healthy place to work, and they want to have meaningful work. So parang meaningful work is not just about having a career. And what I like what positive workplaces study did in the context of well-being, it's not just about the skills, it's not just about having the resources, but it's also about relationship, particularly relationship with bosses, which is also consistent with some of the findings that we did for well-being for the Philippines. And then in another study, this is by Josh Bersin. Josh Bersin is a recognized management consultant in leadership. So in his own study, it, he did a study in the last 2 years related to healthy organizations. There is a whole study about healthy organizations, and it shows that in the context of well-being, hindi pare-pareho. Not all organizations are on the same stage and level. And there is a maturity level progressing from well-being, focus on well-being, becoming really and truly a healthy organization. But regardless of where the company would progress in that maturity model in the well-being, one thing is very clear and is shared by other research is the fact that there is an economics to it, meaning there is a very positive impact to the business when you have people who experience positive well-being at work. So this slide just shows like the impact on business outcomes, how people who have positive well-being at work and where companies are more intentional, you delight your customers. Um, Employees are really happy and can say that it's a great place to work. Plus, in terms of innovation, there is much opportunities to innovate because in one webinar, my current boss said, you cannot expect people to bring their 100% of themselves at work when they're only allowed to bring 50% or half, particularly in the context of well-being, meaning they're not they're experiencing some challenges in terms of mental or emotional support. They need some help. They feel anxiety. They feel stress. They need financial security. And all these things that I mentioned relates to well-being, how it impacts well-being. So how can you expect people to be at their 100% self when they're not allowed or when they're struggling and challenged? So that's why the more um, best workplaces or even the great workplaces are very intentional and proactive in terms of shaping the strategy. So what we're seeing, it's not just about the pizza, the ice cream, the Zumba. There's more intentional effort, and they look at it holistically. And what I like in the last day one, day two, the speakers of the summit talked about looking at the whole person. Diba? Kasi iba-iba yung mga pangangailangan natin, iba-iba yung konteksto natin, iba-iba yung pananggagalingan natin, iba-iba yung pangangailangan natin. So organizations need to be able to address the holistic needs of a person. Iba-iba, hindi naman tayo lahat nanay, hindi naman tayo lahat nag-aalaga o may elderly sa bahay, di ba? But we belong to the same organization. So that's the challenge and opportunity for companies and even for HR. Okay? So I think yung cases for why it has to be strategic, the approach to well-being, I couldn't underscore it enough. And what we also saw in the best workplaces in our Philippine study are three characteristics on how these companies are able to provide the best in employee care. So I wanted to highlight three things. One is really the strong connection to the company's purpose, to their values, and to their strategy. Later on, I'll share the link to that study because you will see how companies like DHL, Cisco, Accenture really created that clear link of well-being, why well-being matters to their values and to their purpose. And there you see also it's holistic, it's inclusive, and the approach is really collaborative. They talk to people. They're very transparent about what they need and how the company can help them help with their well-being. So those are the things that I saw and why I would say that companies would need to be more intentional and strategic when it comes to well-being. So yun. So maybe natutuwa ako nakangiti si Gabby. So Gabby, any thoughts? I mean, in terms of what you're seeing sa the study that you did dun sa 4Cs, particularly dun sa careers.
Yeah. So I think previously, we just viewed well-being as purely, okay, you're doing well at work, you're being compensated for the work that you do. Pero more and more, as parang the years go by, we see na nadadagdagan yung mga components niya. And it's only
Yeah.
during, di ba, parang recent years na companies like Great Places to Work, even yung mga even in the health sector, ngayon lang
Right.
na study na, ano nga ba ang components ng well-being, especially for Filipinos. So in positive workplaces, so alam nga natin na career is one of the domains. We're seeing that career is one of the domains. And ang napapaloob dito is there opportunity for skill use? May
Yeah.
physical security ba inside the office? So this can be, this pertains to equipment. Are there
Yeah.
resources to do the work that I'm supposed to do? Tapos naka-highlight din yung interpersonal contact. Parang dati kasi pag boss ka, ito yung trabaho gawin mo. Pero ngayon it's
Oo.
important to show na you care about the person, not only in their parang contribution in what you do, di ba? Kasi sabi mo nga kanina, when we talk about human potential, it encompasses a lot of things.
That's true. That's true. And I like what you said about the domain and the different you talked about skills, the resources. So that it gives us a good idea of okay, when building your career, you talked about the skills, resources, and even the interpersonal relationship. So let me just engage. O akala nyo kami lang ni Gabi magkausap, no? 112 yata tayo ngayon sa kwarto. So in the chat or what from what you have experienced and learned and looking at your career, what do you need to have to grow and build your own career where you are at now? So siguro sa chat, just type it there. And then siguro after the session, i-collecta natin lahat yan, Gabby, then we'll make a word cloud out of it just to see ano ba yung mga emerging things that you currently need. Baka kasi mamaya in the responses of others, makikita natin, ay, oo nga 'no, kailangan ko pala nun. So, let's have this exchange of learning. Sige nga pasulat lang diyan sa chat. Kung meron kayong burning need na mag-unmute, okay din lang. Can they unmute ba? Hindi ko alam.
I can give them access. Mag-raise hand lang sila.
Oo, o sige nga, i-engage. O akala nyo kami lang ni Gabi ang mag-uusap. Hindi. So, what are the top things that you need to have to grow and build your career? Nagta-type ba? Hindi ko na nakikita. Wala akong
Yan. May
salamin.
sagot na recognition and rewards.
Recognition and
Yes.
reward. Yeah.
Sige, ako naman, I can give an example. Ay, pareho kami ni Irish. Sinabi niya skills training. So I think
Skills
diba,
training.
there are things na you need to learn to do the job better. Parang
Yeah.
support, training fees na pwedeng mabayaran so that we can also
Correct.
that skill.
Yeah.
Then naman, motivation and support from people around me.
Oo. So parang ang dami, no? Ayan, iipunin natin lahat yan, Gabi. Ang isa kong question, true or false, parang ang dami pala. Talagang kinakareer natin ang career. So true or false? So can career is a source of stress or burnout then? True or false? Sige nga. Tapos sasabihin ko wala namang correct or wrong answer, no? Given that ang dami-dami pala. So can your career be a source of stress or burnout? Anong sagot? Walang sirit. Kanya-kanyang karanasan yan.
True all caps.
True. 100%. May mga ano pa talagang, nararamdaman ko nga eh. Yeah, totoo. So for those who say na it's false, well, congratulations to you. We need to learn from you if you're able to manage or think it's not a cause of stress. In fact, if it's a source of motivation, please do share later on. But for those who said that, yeah, it can be a source of stress. Oo, relate ako dyan. Sa over the years, it can be a source of stress or burnout. Particularly if those things that Gabby and the other mentioned are not in place. So we said we need skills, we need resources, we need management support. It becomes very stressful when these are not in place, not available, or we don't know how to access it. So yun yung nagiging challenge ngayon. And it's the same findings that we saw in that study that we did with Johns Hopkins. So in Johns Hopkins, we have 5 dimensions of employee well-being. We have mental, emotional support, sense of purpose, personal support, financial health, and then meaningful connections, which is ang daming similarities and link to what positive workplaces is currently doing in their 4 Cs. But in the context of career, what I see as the closest would be around personal support. And personal support in Great Place to Work, we defined it. It's really an environment where employees feel supported and respected and provided with and control in achieving your own goals. What I've learned from my former company, DDI, is one of the things that was that a positive impact on my own well-being was they created an environment to empower me and to make me take charge of my own development. So hindi ako naghihintay na okay, parang wala pa bang training? Parang nagpapakamot ka na parang tapos na yung isang taon, tapos ang budgeting, wala pa rin akong training. So hindi. One of the things that we saw is in the context of career, when people are given that are empowered, are encouraged to take care of their own development, then it lifts up, it impacts their well-being positively. Kasi parang there's a sense of control, there's a sense of flexibility, which is really nice. So in the context of skills, resources, and management and manager support, what are some of the things that I can share and some things that you can consider? Tawag ng nila Gabi ng mga bagets, mga hacks yan. Nung panahon ko, kaming mga mga tips or best practices, but it's the same. It's the same intent to help. So the first tip, looking at how can you build your skills, your resources, and ensure there's manager support. First of all, discover and build your strengths. Kasi nga minsan, di ba, nagbabago. Remember when I asked ko, nung maliliit kayo, ano yung gusto nyo maging paglaki? And look at where you are now. Ang daming pagbabago. It's possible that because life is dynamic, life is evolving, even your choice of career will change. Sometimes you discover little strengths until you try to see a bigger pattern of where your strengths can be used. So maraming ways to discover it. If you know your strength, continue to apply it and build it. So, yung concept of deliberate practice, 'di ba? You keep on practicing, applying, get feedback until you continue to improve yourself. So how do you do that? You teach back, you volunteer, you lead projects, you mentor, anything that will help you apply your skills, improve it, hone it. And in the same manner, what's nice about it is you're able to help others. You're also able to help inspire others. What if, naku Rhea, hindi ko nga alam, asan ba ang strength ko? Parang wala akong strength. May mga ganyang mga ano pa na, na, na sinasabi na wala naman, hindi naman talaga akong strength eh. So, explore, experiment. So, how do you do that? In many companies, you would have self-assessment, you would have feedback during performance evaluation. Ngayon, on social media, there's so many available free online tools that will tell you what your strengths are. More popular ones would be Clifton or the Gallup. Ano pa ba? Even would MBTI give that data? So explore. I'm pretty sure positive workplaces would have some references or tools to help us discover our strengths. Kasi hindi rin yun naman kailangan maging pinakamagaling. Sabi nga, one of our spiritual directors told us once, hindi natin kailangang maging pinakamagaling, pero lahat tayo may galing. It's that finding what unique strength and talents we have. And then when you put them together, like especially in the team, it's a collective strength that the company would really benefit from. So that's one thing to share. So if you are more structured, particularly if you're responsible to create that environment to help your team, your employees to find their strength. So there are many tools. I just wanted to share this model by DDI. We call it a success profile. I vouch for this because I have used it in the past 20 years to discover my own rediscover or discover my own aspirations. So just imagine, diba? Let's say, gusto ko maging doktor or gusto ko maging facilitator. To become a facilitator, syempre hindi naman yung parang masking pops jargon ng mga Gen X yon. So parang there is a profile that will help you become an effective facilitator. So some would call this a competency model. Dati ano ba to? Yung knowledge, interest, skills. So it may have different descriptions or jargons or acronyms, but the intent is it gives you a blueprint of what it will require to help you build your career. So another source would be if you take a look at American Talent Development or ATD, they have a recent career development framework that you can see. It also includes some career path or ladders. So marami. The thing is, you have to be open and look out what are available tools, frameworks that can help you in your role, especially if you're in L&D or if you're in HR or for personal use. So I encourage you to experiment and explore. So sabi ko nga, nagbabago. Ako parang naging doktor, naging madre, naging lawyer. Ngayon, I never really planned on becoming an HR practitioner. It was providential, I think. But what I wanted to encourage and also suggest are these exercises of finding your purpose, drafting your dreams. So these three, I attended them after I retired from my more than 20 years of work during the pandemic. So I attended Drafting My Purpose by Elisha Corpus. And then there is this Servire by Father Ted Gonzalez. It's more advocacy, finding your passion for advocacy work. And the last one was by Nina Terol. So it was Dream Dare Do. It's a dream board. So maraming available. But my encouragement is try try to explore and find your purpose through these exercises. Mahirap mangarap minsan kung mag-isa ka, 'di ba? So, conversations help. Parang you need somebody to listen to, okay, what you're dreaming about and somebody to maybe guide you on how to get there. So I encourage everyone in attending now, try these exercises. So to help you find your purpose and find the career that would find that nice balance. Okay. And then tip number 2, be curious and open to learning. Every moment is a learning moment. Like right now, as I speak, as I look at Gabby, as I look at all 112 of us here in the chat, that's learning for me. I'm learning so much from all 112 of us. It's a matter of asking yourself, seizing that moment. What am I learning today? What am I learning today? So it doesn't have to be a formal training workshop. It doesn't have to be a formal book. So be very open. I share this photo. I wanted to introduce. This is Zoe Rosal, and she's a DJ. DJ yan. But she's also our amazing content and marketing manager at Great Place to Work. And she is my coach when it comes to social media and doing content. So on LinkedIn, I have this regular post, Seconds with Rhea. And because sabi ko nga kay Zoe, naku, hindi ako magaling mag-English, hindi ako marunong magsulat, ang dami, ang dami. But what Zoe did, what I really am thankful for Zoe, what she patiently taught me the tricks. She collaborated with me. How do you want to share your ideas? Because sabi ko, I have thoughts, I have ideas, pero hindi ako magaling mag-English. Hindi ako magaling magsulat sa mga social media na yan. So, she coached me. I was open to her feedback. I listened to her. I learned from her. So, before I knew it, I was able to create, I think, more than 20 posts already in a matter of like less than a year. So, yun, even if I'm much, much older than Zoe, she's 26 years old and I'm almost 50. There's still so much that I don't know. And I was just fortunate to have Zoe as part of that learning experience. So sabi ko nga, even if I'm older, even if I've had leadership positions, experiences before, it doesn't make me any wiser than the rest. So I think that's one thing. In the context of career, you have to be curious all the time. You have to keep on learning. So there. Then the last tip is create your circles of trust and allies. And ito, syempre, this first photo is my family. And in the context of career, like I wouldn't be able to do all those development, perform my role as a leader, which I wanted as a way to build my career without the support of my husband. So like now I was telling Gabby, I won't be able to do this webinar if my husband didn't help me take care of the house. So siya yung naglinis ng bahay. O pag kami mga Zoom calls ako, siya yung naglalabas ng aso para hindi tumatahol. So little things that your family, your spouse, your son, oh, that's my son. Siya yung nagpe-playground dati, ngayon malaki na. I mean, little things, but they support you in so many ways. And you have to show appreciation for that. Because people want to support you and in your career. And the photo here is the other one is my other ally is my brothers. I have 5 brothers. I'm the only girl. So all my brothers, they have different fields. One is a banker, one is a lawyer, one is a CEO, one is a sales leader, one is a teacher. So ang dami kong pag may tanong ako about labor, tatanungin ko yung kuya kong abogado. Pag may tanong ako about finances and taxes, tatanungin ko yung kapatid kong nasa bangko. So those are my allies. But I highlight the family circle and allies because most of the time we take them for granted. The clear allies that we have at work would be the ones in the office, our bosses. But meron din tayo right there, smack in our family circle. Okay? So maybe let me just leave this message in terms of careers and well-being. So careers, how can you make your career a source of well-being for you and for others? So again, I say connect the dots because career and as in life is very dynamic. Sometimes it continues to give you patterns, sometimes it doesn't. So just continue to find the dots, and the dots are those moments that you learn in the present, and as it helps you find your career and then build your career. Okay. So I know we don't have much time, but maybe as an ano, I'll share with you also the link to our employee well-being insights report. There's so much to learn there. I'm also learning from the report. And then um, we have this video by my team. If you're familiar with Dr. Seuss, he has this very nice work, Oh, the Places You'll Go. And it's a very, very inspiring way to capture how we are as human beings continue to grow, the ups and downs, but with support in place coming from people who will guide us and support us, like our teams at work. There's so many places that each of us can go. So with that, maraming salamat. I'll stop share. Gabby, and over to you.
Yes, thank you, Miss Rhea, for everything that you shared. Grabe na, I think one of the biggest insights this afternoon is yung connect the dots. Parang kasi pag sinabi nila sa ating career, parang feeling natin na may prescriptive way on how to do it. Pero ang big part din nun is like really connecting the dots because the dots just appear when you take one step at a time, di ba? Hindi siya oh, it's big and clear, it's there. So I hope that's one thing that our audiences can take away this afternoon. So I think we can do a quick Q&A with Miss Rhea this afternoon. Ayan, I will share with you the pigeonhole that we are going to use.
Sige,
So
maglalagay na ako ng salamin.
in your questions, yes, definitely. Ayan. May nag-private message sa akin. So, here's one question. How do you, parang, parang yung gusto niya sabihin is, how do you leverage or how do you ask your bosses for training fees or training opportunities when hindi sila ino-offer sa inyo openly?
Okay, so it's really more being proactive
Yeah.
about it. Sige, let me just answer that first. Ano ba yung where does learning and development take place? Ako, I'm a trained learning and development practitioner. So ang aking default is training. But you know what I realize? Training is not the magic pill. Meaning, you can grow and learn even without a formal training workshop, even without investing so much. Okay. So that let me just put that into context that there's so many options to learn. So um what do I do if I want to be more proactive and tell the boss that I want to attend training? Tama ba? Parang I'll tell my boss, okay, I want to attend this training, a formal training. So ako, what I've learned is look at it as a view of investment. Hindi yung, boss, pahingi naman ng budget, a-attend ako nito. Hindi eh. Dahil, di ba nga HR, call center tayo. So parang iniisip nila, call center ka. So you have to change the narrative. So you have to position it. Like for example, I'll think of a training. Let's say, di ba sa HR, mga accounting 101 for non-HR. Ba't ka attend yan? Accounting, hindi naman yan pang HR. So you have to build a case. So, boss, yung isang nagiging parang problema is we're not able to present our budget properly, the ROI, etc., etc. So you have to build the case. What's the value of the company if they send you to that training? So you have to build that case. You have to work with your boss, that even how your boss can benefit by you attending the training. So you have to change the narrative. So hindi siya cost, but it's an investment. And how will you, by you attending that training, what's the value or benefit? What's in it for the company and what's in it for your boss if you attend it? So that's how I would do it. It's not easy. So kaya kailangan makita mo kung ano yung what your boss might find as beneficial or what's in it for him. So it has to be win-win. In that sense, it's going to be you might also be able to get the support. So that's how I would do it. I hope that helps.
Yes, I think that really helps. And yung communication aspect niya, I think that's also one of the things na we should be able to learn. Because walang mangyayari, diba, if we don't know how to express ourselves and of course, express that case so that we can also get those opportunities. So we have
Yeah.
3 questions coming in. Is there one that you would like to answer?
Sige. This is always questions coming from government is always interesting. The first one I'll take. In government, even if they send us to training, they don't want to change systems. How can I apply what I learned? Again, mahilig ako mag-reframe. The question is, when they sent you to training, was it really an issue of changing the system? Kasi di ba pag sa perform, is it an issue of skill? Is it an issue of system? Is it an issue of motivation? So parang, pag binago natin yung system, mababago ba yung behavior? So you have to think of it that way also. But I do understand, halimbawa, like this well-being. O di ba, I did a workshop last year about putting well-being practices in place. Naku, pero ma'am, wala naman kaming, halimbawa, yung mga counseling sessions, wala ho kaming ganyan. Paano namin magagawa? So, what is the problem that you're trying to solve na through counseling sessions lang ba ang makakasagot? So, if the systems are not there, remember, behaviors may not all be dependent on changing the systems. It could start, pwede siyang maging progressive. So parang you start with small behaviors within your team without having to rely on the infrastructure or system. And this is, besides, the system is the one or infrastructure easily changes than a behavior. So you may want to think of it that way also. So yun, there's still a lot of opportunities to apply what you learned. So it's just a finding that right opportunity to apply it. And I would encourage you, it's not always system dependent. Yun. I hope that helps.
Yes, we hope that helps. So we have 2 more questions. I think we can answer them both. Parang ito na lang muna because parang maganda yung last question as our
Oo.
closing message. So ito muna, what if we don't have allies in our circles? How do we build them?
Oo, good question. Ako rin the first thing is build a circle. I mean, we are part of, at the minimum, siguro sa opisina meron tayong ka-opisina, di ba? Meron tayong boss. Parang structurally, you have people who are part of your ecosystem, of your circle. So I think that's important to be aware that there is a circle. I guess the next step is, okay, which circle or network would be meaningful for me to build? So, minsan hindi mo nalalaman na allies eh. Ang allies, and I have to be clear on this, my experience, ang allies natin, ang allies ko were not the people who were always saying, oh, go, Rhea, go, hindi. In fact, my biggest allies were the ones who challenged me the most. I had a very challenging boss. Pero the intent was, okay, to move me out of my comfort zone. Diba, in learning and growth, there is a spectrum. Growth happens when you're able to move out of a comfort zone. Eh, di ba ang sakit nga nun? Yun ang pinakamahirap, uncomfortable nga eh. But the correct allies, your correct circles of trust, if they're the ones, they will help you move, transition out of that comfort zone. So maybe that's yung I don't, maybe you don't see them as allies now because it's relationship based over time. Kaya nga 'di ba the other C in the domain is connectedness. You have first to make that connection. Then you build the relationship. Then you build, okay, will this be my ally or will they not be my ally, or it's their colleagues or something else. I say ally in the context of people who will help me develop my career, and my growth. So yun. So I think the first thing there is you have to connect. You have to take the risk and put yourself out there and connect. Hindi mo naman kailangan buong barangay o isang zip code, di ba? Para makabuo ng isang network. 3 people, 4 people that you trust would be good. Yun. So I hope I answered that. Sorry. Okay.
You did. And
Last
last,
one. Ako, Miss Universe ang dating. Kilala ko ba dito?
yes. And
How
then,
were you able to figure out how you're going to do what? Okay. Ako, I figured out what I wanted to do now through those I would say at certain moments, the things that I were doing, I tried to find, okay, ba't ko nga ba 'to ginagawa? Lalo na sa HR, I often hear, until now, nagulat ako, I still hear, ay nako, thankless job talaga tong HR. But turns out, nasa HR pa rin ako. So, I think I discovered what I wanted to do when I find that what I'm doing has impact. I find fulfillment to it. And nagva-vary siya. Nagva-vary siya. But at a certain point, the career and the advocacy and the purpose for me, somehow, they intersected. They intersected. So that's why like now I enjoy doing webinars for advocacy work and sharing what I know. Hindi naman kasi lahat ng alam ko tama, but I hope that some people will learn something from what I share today. So, yun. And the thing with career and figuring out, sometimes you don't need to put a label or a position to it. Like, alam ko na, gusto kong maging CEO. Sometimes it's not really the CEO title that defines your purpose or what you want to do. Sometimes it's the work itself. So don't be limited na, okay, hindi pa ako CEO, hindi pa ako CFO, hindi ko na fulfill yung career ko. No, it may not be that. It goes beyond the title. It goes beyond the career levels, perhaps. Kasi minsan that's what gets frustrating. And that what might impact your well-being. Hindi pa mataas ang sweldo ko kasi hindi pa ako CEO. So, I don't feel good. I feel stressed. So, yun. I hope I answered that. Parang Miss Universe, no?
Kaya nga sabi ko maganda tong closing message because tama, diba? It's parang yung sinabi ni Kevin last week, it's not the position that makes you
Yeah.
or this position, how you view what you are doing at the current moment, especially in the work that you do.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Miss Rhea. I think ang dami nilang natutunan, and may I just read one of the messages that was sent to me? Hold on. Na there is always a hunger for learning in us, sabi niya. So really supports what you were saying kanina. And it is important to tap and recognize that we can do it on our own by attending learning opportunities like this. So I think marami talaga silang natutunan from you, and we can't wait to see how they apply it in their workplaces.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for listening. And I wish everyone all the best in your career journey and well-being. So there. Thanks, Gabby.
Thank you, Miss Rhea. Let's all give Miss Rhea a warm round of applause before we move on to the next segment of our session this morning. Thank you so much again. And that's your hacks for career well-being. Yan. Okay, so if you're ready, can you type in ready in the chat for our next set of speakers this afternoon? Sige, antayin natin. A lot of thank yous for Miss Rhea, and a lot of you are saying that you're ready for the next segment. Okay, so hindi na namin papatagalin pa to. So I'd like to call on, yan, ready na ba siya? I'd like to call on Positive Workplaces Chief People Officer Gio Kapinpin, who will be talking about positive emotions at play through gratitude and contentment. Gio, are you there?
I am. Hello. Naririnig ba ako na maayos? Is my audio fine?
Yes, you're loud and clear on
Yan.
my end.
All right. I just want to check, kamusta po ba ang connection ko on my end? Are people seeing me clearly, smoothly? Is my internet?
Oh, hold on, Gio. I think we lost. Am I the only one who can't hear Gio? Ayan, Gio, I think you're moving again.
Ayan. Yan.
Ayan.
Yes. I did just ask that question. Kamusta ba yung connection ko?
Yeah, tapos
And
tumigil
then,
po talaga bigla.
oo nga eh, biglang tumigil. So I'm so sorry about that. Hopefully,
Oh no, I think we're experiencing some technical difficulties.
the chat if things are going fine. Okay ba? Okay ba? Or paputol-putol. Let me make sure I am okay. Ayan. Feeling ko it should
I
be
think it's
fine
better
now.
now. Yeah.
Yes, I did switch connections. Yan. Tama ba? Okay na? Okay na?
Yes.
Alright.
Good.
Yan. Alright. Thank you. Sige. Thank you so much for patiently waiting for us to set that up a little bit now. So again, welcome everybody to our second half of this afternoon session. And we're going to talk about contentment. And we've positioned it to really talk about positive emotions at play through gratitude and contentment. Before I begin any further, I would love to introduce my co-facilitator sa ating afternoon, no? So, again, my name is Gio and I'm the Chief People Officer of Positive Workplaces. But enough about me. No, I'm not as important as the next person that I'm about to introduce. No, hello. Ayan. Okay ba? Okay ba? Yan. Yeah, so I'm not as important as the next person I'm about to introduce. I am well privileged to have this person beside me being my co-facilitator for this afternoon. He is a returning facilitator from our previous sessions. No, he is a fellow Filipino cohort of the certification in applied positive psychology. He is also a well-being coach and a co-founder of What Really Matters. Nakakatawa po talaga because he really mixes his methods of creativity in business and the arts, and he definitely has a passion for creating spaces where people can be the best versions of themselves. This person is my idol when it comes to the coaching, his coaching career in his life, and I want to emulate all his success so far. Yeah. So without further ado, let me introduce si Chewy or si Matthew. Siya yung mas maputi, mas gwapo, mas chinitong counterpart ko in
Ha?
this space. Ayan. Go ahead, Chewy.
Gio. So maybe I'll take the remaining of the session to give all my
Yeah, go
compliments now
ahead.
to Gio. But thank you, Gio, for such a wonderful introduction. So I'm really here with you all as another facilitator with Gio, and we're really here to hold space to talk about such a great topic around contentedness and gratitude. So let me just, here you go. All right. So just if you haven't prepared it yet, we do invite you to bring out your pens and papers to really soak in all the information you'll be learning from the day. And we'll make this also very interactive. So for everyone, we'd love if you can type your questions in the chat or in the pigeonhole that'll be shared with you. And with that, we can start. So welcome everyone to our workshop for the day around positive emotions at play through gratitude and contentment. And we're going to be going through a learning roadmap for today just to guide everyone's learnings. And our roadmap will be centered around a why, what, how framework, and trying to answer the question here. First of all, why is contentment an essential element for your well-being? So when we understand the importance of it, now we can go into the content of it all, which is what role does looking back have in your life satisfaction and your experience of contentment? And lastly, of course, we want this to be very practical for you. So we'll also continue it on by looking at the strategies of actually applying gratitude and contentment practices in this session in itself. And we want this to really be something that's interactive and that's fun for you all. So we hope that you're as excited as we are. So to start it off, we want to ask that question that I mentioned a while ago, which is, why is contentment an essential element for your well-being? And given that this is going to be an interactive event, of course, we have a Mentimeter for you all to log in and answer the question. In your own opinion, which areas or aspects in your life are you contented with? So
Amazing question,
contentedness,
right?
it's your definition of it. So wherever you feel that is true for you, go for it.
We'll give them a few seconds lang to capture our code, yung QR code, or typing menti.com and then typing in our code 21495090. We also have the link in the chat box. So please let us know, how are you feeling about it? Chewy, I'll borrow the screen just a little bit
Sure,
para
sure.
mag-switch on over sa Menti natin. Ha? All right. So, ayan, no, we are seeing people chiming in different areas. What are you seeing so far, Chewy?
So it seems like there's a lot of people sharing for the friends aspect, relationships, family. I love that there are some people here that they're sharing around mental health as something that they're contented with.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe there are categories in your life you're not finding here that you actually find contentment in. Let us know sa chat, no? Baka meron kayong konting flexibility on what you would love to celebrate as having contentment in your life. And we're really curious, nasaan yon? Please let us know in the chat if you're not finding it here.
I love how whenever answers come in, parang siyang yung game. I forget what that game is where they shoot the bubbles, and I see it's like it's really just shooting towards family and friends and
Yeah. Oo.
relationships.
Oo, ang galing na animation, no? So we're seeing that that's exactly the case, no? People are shooting for family. It's great that a lot of people are sharing that it's family. Some people
Yeah.
are sharing it's friends. Pero may mga iilan, no? Parang siguro dahil panahon ng December, people are
Yes.
sharing, finances, but also
Physical
physical
health.
health. Yeah, exactly. I love that. Anything else that you're seeing here, Chewy?
I'm just curious also to make it, I guess, personal also. Where would you shoot
Mm.
your maybe 2 or 3 balls?
Oh, great question, Chewy. Siguro sa akin, number one, is mental health. I think that's one of the things that I'm really happy about. Career. I feel so much contentment when it comes to career. And of course, bilang magkakaroon na ako, ikakasal na po ako in the next month.
Woo!
No, definitely my relationship is there. No, I'm feeling very content with my relationship. So,
Right
yon.
on.
Thank you so much. How about you, Chewy?
For me, definitely, I would answer also my friends, my physical health, and I think my mental health. I'm really trying to work on these things intentionally, and we'll be talking about that a little bit later. And I feel like I'm reaping the benefits.
I love that. Yeah. So ngayon nakikita natin that people are sharing where they're content in. No? Parang it brings up the question as we shared where we're content in. Diba?
Yeah.
Parang why do we feel that way about those areas in our life? So we're really curious, no, Chewy? Diba?
Yes. So we do want to invite everyone to answer this next Menti page. For those people that answered the different life areas, what makes you say so? Like what gives you the confidence to go like, oh, I am actually contented about this.
Yeah. Sige. While we're waiting for people to think about that response, no, na nasasabi nyo na you are content in your life, in those areas of your life for a particular reason. Let me share yung siguro a little bit of what I was talking about na rin kanina, no? Na
Mm.
definitely when it comes to the relationship I have, I feel na I'm really content with it because syempre yung ikakasal na ako, 'di ba? And if that would if I weren't really content with my relationship, I wouldn't make that decision soon. So that's
Right.
that's really amazing for me. Another thing when it comes to career is I'm actually now in a point in my life where I'm so happy with the things that I'm doing in my career. 'Di ba? Ang laki. It's very similar to what Rhea was sharing a while ago na there are a lot of things in our life where we can connect the dots, and I've made those connections in my life na, you know what? This seems to be the place where I can contribute the most. Kaya nararamdaman ko yung contentment ngayon dun sa career ko. How about you, Chewy? What are you getting at with your areas of contentment?
I think definitely number one, it's for the physical aspect. I accidentally joined a future marathon, so I feel the pressure to work out, but at the same time, just having more time to run and to get myself back into shape makes me feel really good about my current state of physical health, and I think that also contributes to mental health in a way.
Yeah.
So I just
Yeah,
want to
exactly.
read some of the people here and their answers, what makes them say so. I think so. A couple of it I can see looks like answers for friends and family. So
Mm.
unconditional love and support. Friends have been a great source of joy and support. Others also sense of security in those areas, whatever those areas were for you.
Galing, yeah.
What are you noticing, Gio?
Yeah, I want to just take a moment to celebrate yung person na nag-share, no? Very lengthy kung ano yung sinasabi niya, what they're taking away from their noticing na they are content in these areas. Sabi nila, I learned to be thankful for my family, friends, career, and spirituality. I learned to keep good relationships and to cut off toxic relationships. Finances can be improved because inflation is real. Totoo nga naman, di ba?
Totoo.
Hindi natin mapipigilan yun. That is the reality that we're all facing now, right? And people are sharing that sort of overarching parang narrative na there is something to be thankful for about these areas na nahanap nila yung contentment nila, right?
Mhm. Oh, I love what the person in the blue chat box wrote, talking about like being able to kind of step back and assess what's everything that's kind of happening to this person. And what I understand from what he or she wrote was not really attributing anymore what contentedness is to what society says, but what this person deems to be what's important.
Yeah.
Ganda,
I really
ganda.
love that. Yeah, di ba? I suppose like you and I both working in the coaching field,
Yes.
this is the kind of responses we want our clients to hear, di ba? Na we
Yes,
want
yes.
people to embrace this sort of ownership about what they want their life to be more like. So this is really powerful stuff. Yeah.
So to everyone, keep it coming. Feel free to if we pause this slide, feel free to type out on the chat. We just want this energy to keep on continuing now. And overall, I just want to share that we can see that different people answer different things. And we're not trying to ever say that one form of contentedness in a certain life area is better than the other. What we're trying to do here is to recognize where are we content and to understand that per person there might be different areas that we're feeling contented with, and that's okay. So overall, I just want to emphasize that it's great that we're having this discussion, this opportunity to discuss gratitude and contentedness in this moment, because these are topics that we don't usually get to talk about, right? Usually it's very much like, okay, we have to keep on working harder, and we have to get more and more. And it's just a culture of just constantly moving without really trying to stop and appreciate what's around us. So let's take this time to understand what's the benefits of actually getting to stop, look around, and take it all in. And where we want to start is by putting the perspective around how we see the events in our lives colors the way that we feel. So we've all gone through multiple milestones, both maybe the great moments and the bad moments that made us who we are today. And understanding that the way that we perceive our relationship with these events ultimately impacts how we feel about our own lives in this moment. And we want to start here because there's a very important connection of this type of perception towards the happiness that we experience. And what we want to show is that through a research by Bomersky. I don't know if I pronounced that right. I hope I did. Uh, they did a research around the life satisfaction of individuals and how can we understand when we experience happiness, how do we understand the difference of our happiness versus the happiness experienced by other people? And what they discovered in their research was that 50% of 50% of the difference can be attributed towards genetic happiness, meaning the genes that we're born with, the really more on a standpoint of what was given to us by our parents. On the 10% of that naman is life circumstances. So maybe these are the events that happened. So COVID and other life quakes that seem to
I love how
really
you put
mess us
that.
up. And last but not the least, no, is what we call 40% of intentional actions. So if you notice here, no, the genetics, we are born into this world, maybe we don't really have so much of a hand in that. Life circumstances, it's not like we asked for a pandemic or we asked for these other like life quakes to happen. But there is a 40%, which are intentional actions. And the beauty of understanding that this 40% is that how we define intentional actions are areas of our life that we can control. Meaning that 60% of the difference in our happiness versus other people are things that are out of our control. Yet 40%, these intentional actions, are the acts that we can actually begin doing for ourselves to take control of our happiness. So G, I see a lot of nodding, a lot of energy. I feel like you want to also add on?
Yeah, no, you are so spot on that, right? That we as practitioners of positive psychology essentially have work to do because of this intentionality space.
Yes.
Diba na when we recognize na, you know, happiness isn't something that just falls upon us, like you said, na it's not 100%. It's only 60% of what determines how we can be happier or compared to other people. And there's actually 40% that falls on our responsibility. Now we get to do something about that. And the science of positive psychology tells us that there are ways to get to that. Right. And what is that, Chewy? Yeah.
Exactly. So, and that's why we're having this session together, no? So when we get to look at the areas of what we can control. And one of I guess Gio and I's our real idol, no, is Martin Seligman, who is the founder of positive psychology. And he really talks about how the key to happiness is being at peace with your past. Which means looking back at your past with a sense of satisfaction. So it's not just having those past events and leaving it, maybe something bad happened to us in the past. It's not just leaving it, it's about understanding maybe how this moment that's maybe might have been out of our control contributed to who we are today and using that information to move forward. So just an example for this, no, the pandemic really caught me at a time where I was trying to realign what matters to me. And it's in this time of having pause where I was able to rediscover that where my heart lies is with people, is with the people development space. And it's this moment of pause that allowed me to discover coaching and discover psychology. And now that I kind of changed my relationship with what happened, this is what allowed me to bring me into the relationship that I have with my work and my contentedness today. And also to add to that, Martin Seligman also talks about how it's not just the relationship to our past, but also being able to express that gratitude for the things that have happened. So just an example for this again is that when it's not just enough to experience these happy moments, but to recognize that they are happy moments and share it with other people. So there's this famous saying that we learned in positive psychology where it's like happiness shared is happiness squared. So when we get to share what happened to us with other people, it also increases the depth of that experience of happiness that we experience.
Yeah, I love that. These are great lines. Yeah. Sige, let me borrow now the screen, Chewy. Yeah.
Sure.
So yeah, right. So as Chewy discussed, there are a lot of things that can set us up for success in controlling for our happiness compared to other people. And he mentioned two things, right? It's that we can look back at our lives with satisfaction. Katulad nung sharer natin kanina, sabi niya, merong sense of security in those areas. That's really spot on to what Chewy was talking about. And the other is that we can express gratitude in the present. No, na yung mga nangyari sa atin, we are able to feel thankful about them. And it's exactly like what one of our learners shared about learning to be thankful for family, friends, career, spirituality. These are all lining up to what we're talking about. Okay. So now we'll discuss what is the mechanism behind really looking back at our life with looking back at our lives and finding that life satisfaction and their entire experience of contentment. And so I just want to check in with people, no? Quickly lang, no, hindi na tayo lilipat sa Mentimeter. Magkamustahan lang tayo saglit. In our chat, can you let us know what comes to mind when you hear the word gratitude? Sige nga. Pinag-usapan natin lang yung gratitude kanina lang, sabi ni Chewy, no? So for you, just let us know in the chat what comes to mind when you hear the word gratitude.
So it could be anything that you associate to the word, not no right or wrong naman.
Yeah. Yan. So, those Viminda is sharing na thankfulness, di ba? Parang madaling kaakibat. No? Sabi ni Gabby, gifts, right? Blessings, contentment, blessings, right? Ito, ano to, very Filipino yung concept na, ay, alam mo, ang sarap sabihin na when we are thankful, we're recognizing blessings. Di ba? Ang galing nun.
Mhm.
Ayan, so a lot of people are sharing blessings, thankful, right? Appreciation of what we have in life, right?
Right.
Lesson, sabi pa nga ni Carla. Really, really great points. Right? So, these are all correct. No, na we can think about gratefulness or gratitude in the ways that we can think also about blessings in our life, being happy, okay? Uh, appreciation, no? Pwedeng appreciating people, appreciating our circumstances, no? Favors, gifts, 'di ba? So lahat nito papamaraan na ay pagpapasalamat yung gagawin ko. And really what happens here, right? So that when we feel grateful, okay, when we say things like, oh, I'm really thankful about my circumstance now in life. I'm really thankful about this person. I'm really thankful for that experience. I'm really blessed that I've been given this opportunity. All of these things point to three things. No, number one, we recognize the good things are happening. Okay? Alam natin, no, na ang ganda pala ang sarap ng buhay, no? Kasi may biyayang dumadating. Ang sarap ng buhay because I have these people in my life. Katulad ng sabi ni Rhea, 'di ba? Na meron akong circle na napagkakatiwalaan ko. There is recognition of the good that's happening in our lives. Next is that because punong-puno tayo nung saya na 'yon. Sabi nga ni Chewy, no, that happiness shared is happiness squared. Mas gusto nating padamihin pa yung kasiyahan na nararamdaman natin. Right? We know this concept of the overflowing cup. Now, na when we are filled, nag-uumapaw tayo. Right? So kapag punong-puno ng blessings go to our way and we recognize all of these blessings, 'di ba yung natural inclination natin ay parang ang sarap mag-share ng blessings, ang sarap magpamigay, no? So sa mga ninongs diyan, dadating Pasko, sana puno-puno kayo ng blessings para yung mga inaanak nyo, 'di ba? Masayang masaya, right? Sabi ni Jean, one is able to share actions that comes from a place of love. Totoong totoo yan. Exactly to what we were sharing, right? That when you are from spaces of love, you will express those love outwardly. And finally, the most powerful thing about gratitude that we experience is, of course, most likely we will repeat the good deeds. Kasi nga, naramdaman na natin yung sarap, yung ginhawa, that joy, and that satisfaction. And really just the positive, uplifting power of feeling gratitude. Okay? And what we're noticing now is that, of course, expressing gratitude increases our happiness because it notices the good things that are already happening. Okay? Let's leave that definition for a while. Let's go back to, let's continue with contentment. When we talk about contentment, okay, dictionary form lang tong definition na to. Napakabilis lang. Sabi dito sa dictionary, it's a state of happiness and action. So, maybe you're thinking, it's hard to quantify this meaning. Di ba? Parang, ang vague, ang state of happiness and satisfaction, that could be a lot of things. So, we tried to dig around a little bit deeper, and here's what we found through the sciences and through other literature. So, we'll go down into these rabbit holes just for a little bit. No? So, sabi that contentment, state pa din to, mental state, drawn from being at ease in one situation. Parang merong sense of calm, may sense of peace. Yun yung pinag-uusapan natin. Sense of calm, sense of peace, right? In one situation. And nararamdaman natin, hindi lang siya sa utak, pati sa katawan. Right? So the main importance here is that we're not convincing ourselves na, oh, you know what, I'm actually happy about life. No, I feel content. There is a body feeling din na parang hindi tayo naghahabol ng pangangailangan na hindi na nakikita natin kailangan natin, right? It's like the example of our sharer a while ago. Sabi nila, no, na we acknowledge what is good and it may not be much as society dictates. We no longer have to find this sense of, oh, I have to be like other people. Diba? Like, for many of us, we scroll through Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, tapos nakikita natin yung magandang buhay ng mga tao. And despite the reality that other people might be living their best lives, we are also recognizing that, you know, the way we're living our lives is at their best and we are at ease with that reality. Hindi natin nilalabanan kung ano yung katotohanan natin. All right? So, more than that, though, we can say that it's a state of having accepted one's situation. Contentment could be a state of having accepted one's situation. All right? So now we're thinking, why did we have to define both and how do they all connect? Right? So if we were to now push this forward, contentment is really essentially the acceptance. Okay, tinatanggap natin. We are embracing what has happened, what we have, and what we've been given. We accept all that is. We accept all that comes our way. There is acceptance. Niyayakap natin. Okay? So, it's easy to say that, oh, I'm accepting the situation. I'm accepting what's happening. But maybe for some people, when they're struggling with the fact, no, na, you know, but it's been a really tough year. It's been a tough time. I've lost people. I've lost my career path. It's been problematic XYZ. Finances haven't been the best. I'm always stressed out, right? These are all also realities. So mahirap tanggapin tong mga to. And what is really powerful now about what we're sharing is the definitions of both gratitude and contentment. Because what we see here, the real connection is that gratitude plants the seeds for contentment. Okay? Sabi natin kanina, the way we see our lives colors how we feel. So, if we do not see the good in our life, hindi rin natin mararamdaman nakatanggap-tanggap yung mga pangyayari. Does that make sense? If we do not see that good things are happening in our life, it's hard to also feel that there is good in our life, that we can be at peace with our life. So, what we need to do in our lives is to start the planting of the seeds of contentment by being grateful to what's happening now. How does that work? Right? Maybe in 2020, no, pinagdaanan natin lahat yung pandemic. And we revolved around to meeting people virtually. And you might share this experience with me. This is my own experience, ha? Na in 2020, I met really great people in positive workplaces. Namely, one of them, Gabby. No? And I would easily say na back then, nung nagkakilala kami, sabi ko sa kanya, I'm really thankful that we became friends. I'm really thankful that we became friends. This is the gratitude portion of my life. As we move to 2022, okay, nagbunga na siya. Now, as I look back into my life and see in contentment with my life, no, yung relationships na meron ako, I can say, because I recall that grateful memory, I can say, I'm really glad I have many people I can count on just like you. No, because I can say na I've noticed that these people are parang they've been very impactful the moment I met them. So I'm feeling gratitude for that. Tapos nung dumating, ngayon na tinitingnan ko na yung buhay ko, I can go na, I recall that memory that I planted. I recall that gratitude I planted na, these are people that I can count on. These are people that hold space when I need someone to talk to. These are people that will support me through the toughest times, because that was the reality then, and it is still very much true now. Diba? Nagbunga na yung realization na yon. Let me offer you another example, and this might be more relatable to everybody. Right? Nung 2020, pinagdaanan natin lahat yung pandemic at napakahirap ng struggle. Right, Chewy? Right? There were so many things that we had to go through together.
Right.
The uncertainty of the pandemic, the lockdowns, losing a lot of friends and family because of COVID, right? But despite that, if I had not taken the pause to say, despite all of the things that happened, I feel still so blessed that I made it through that tough challenge. Ang dami nangyari, pero nandito pa din ako. I made it through. So, habang dumaan yung mga taon and realizing from that point on na, we made it through that tough challenge, now in 2022, as time progressed and I look back to my past and appreciate my life as a whole, I can say, I know I can take on anything because I've grown much wiser from the experience I've had. Right? I've grown much wiser because there were challenges. I've had to be adaptable. I've had to be more empathic towards people. I've had to expand my options in life. But because I've done all of those, at napapasalamatan ko na ginawa ko na pinagdaanan ko yung pandemic para mangyari tong mga to, I now know I can take on anything. Right? That's the whole continuum with gratitude and contentment. So, with the time that we have, ito yung regalo namin sa inyo ni Chewy. Why don't we all practice this together? So, Chewy, why don't you join me in having our audience also experience this walk of practicing gratitude and contentment in their life by asking them questions, right? So this is now how we can incorporate feeling content in support of your well-being. Now, the next set of questions that we will have for you, you might think about your personal life right now. You can think about your work. You can think about anything else. As long as it comes to you naturally, that's what we will work with. All right.
Okay.
So, first question. Remember first that the key to happiness is, of course, being grateful for our present and looking back at our past with satisfaction. Magsimula muna tayo sa grateful for our present. We'll invite you now to go into Mentimeter and answer this question. Okay? What is one thing that you used to pray for that you're living out right now? Sige nga. You can chat it in. Yeah, go ahead, Chewy.
So once again, this is really on your definition, no? So we're not looking for the biggest things in the world. If it's the smallest thing that you're proud of, that you can confidently say that it's been something that you've been wanting for, or maybe it's something that you didn't even expect, but you're so grateful for that you're living out right now.
I love that. Yeah. what is one thing na pinagdadasal nyo dati or parang hindi nyo akalaing dadating sa inyo, but
Mm.
it's now the reality of your life, right? Number one for me, Chu, if I could just share before we read off of people's messages, one of the things that I used to pray for was that I get to be in a job where I impact uniquely, 'di ba? And hindi na kukulangin ko sasabihin na I'm a chief people positivity and progress officer, and maybe
Mm.
that's a title that we've invented because we're crazy, or that uh it's a title that no one has ever heard of. But to know that I can impact my organization specifically in those ways, hindi ko akalain that that could be real, and now I'm
Right.
living that reality. I'm just thankful for that. What about you, Chewy?
I think for me, definitely, it's actually very similar to you. It's actually doing work that makes me feel fulfilled. Because I came from a place where I felt life was forced upon me, and the more that I got to actually take ownership of it again and pursue the things that I love and find how it all connects, uh,
Yeah,
makes me just look back, and I actually more look to the present and then say that I'm grateful for what I have.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we are so fortunate that the pandemic allowed us to reevaluate our direction and go like
Yes,
this
yes.
this is now the opportunity to take back our life, diba? And go the direction that really sets us off. So we're seeing a lot of that here in the chat. Now, you're noticing anything so far, Chewy?
It's really such a like the answers really vary, So there's
Mm.
something um getting off psych meds. Congratulations, whoever you are.
Yeah, powerful.
A great life partner in your husband. So I whether that's something that's been worked on for quite some time or just a realization now. I love that. I love that answer for you.
Amazing. Yeah. Eto nakakatuwa 'to. This is just something that very unique. Being able to become fluent in multiple languages, right? I
Yes,
imagine that
yes.
this person has really tirelessly devoted to the learning of multiple languages, and they are now fluent in a lot of these. So that's really amazing. We're seeing common themes on permanent job, stable
Mm,
job, multiple sources of income. So parang in a way, it feels like there are a lot more people who are celebrating about, their career and their finances na, they have access to these areas in their life where they're feeling grateful then of what they used to not have, and now they are experiencing those. Right? Mag-congratulate na din punta tayo sa ating cum laude, laude, no? Grabe, 'no? Talagang graduate siya with Latin honors. So, saludo
yes,
kami
yes.
sa inyo. Ayan, right? So, there are other things here, Chewy. You want to read off some of them that you're noticing?
Sure. Someone also giving gratitude for the free webinars of Positive Workplaces. Thank you for the recognition. I think it sure all of us in the team really know how much we've put into
Exactly.
it, and thank you for that acknowledgement.
Yeah, thank you so much. Ayan. I used to pray
Others,
for being a permanent government employee way back 2020. Now, 2 years after, I have it and thankful for it. Ang galing. Amazing. I
ganda.
really love this. Yan. Mm.
I also just want to
Ah.
acknowledge the person who answered to have the strength to keep on living after you lost a lot of loved family members of yours. And
Mm.
I really do want to acknowledge that it was your choice to have that strength and to keep moving forward. And I think that's
Mm.
something to really be recognized.
Yeah. That's so important, Chewy, that we recognize that intentionality na.
Yes.
It's not about resisting the loss and finding ways to just get them back, but to embrace the reality and to it's really tough. It requires a lot of strength and
True.
parang resolve na kailangan ko talagang tanggapin itong nangyari at kailangan kong magpatuloy mabuhay
Mhm.
despite this. It's really, really powerful. So we send prayers and strength your way, whoever you are sharing this. We
Mhm.
also appreciate that you were very open in letting us know that that is what you're coming in with. Right?
Right.
Yan. A lot of great things, no? Serving people through my job and dreamt to be a counselor, but doing it now by listening to their stories as they lay it comfortably every time they visit me. Ang galing. Ang daming nakakatuwang shares dito, no?
Yeah.
So, yan. Okay. I really love this. So, as we talked about being grateful for what it is that you're experiencing now, let's move now to contentment a little bit and stretch that happiness positivity muscle a little bit. Medyo na exercise na kayo, na broaden na kayo na onte.
Yeah.
Let's
Medyo
try
may
now
warm up
pushing it.
na.
May warm up na, no? So let's now try to notice this next question. No, in our next question, can you now list down what are the positive milestones that made your life the way it is now? No, a positive milestone can be something that you felt you succeeded in and that really progressed your life. All right. So, positive milestone, you were trying to take on something and you were able to achieve it. You churned out something from like a goal, and it happened for you. So
Right.
one of the things that again, so for example, yung positive milestone na shinare ko kanina was that yes, uh I was able to take on learning so much about positive psychology that I am in the position I am now, right? If I hadn't decided na, you know what, I will embrace learning about positive psychology, in the freest forms possible. Yung mag-YouTube ako ng positive psychology, nagkumuha ako ng Coursera course on it. These are all things I intentionally set out to do. At
Mhm.
nung nagawa ko na siya, no, I took up the certification just like Chewy. I took up my coaching certification. I took up my internship. All of these are goals I set myself out to do. At dahil pinagpaguran ko na to be in these spaces, I really set out myself na now I'm enjoying the benefits of hard work, of putting myself to my challenges. Now, this is something I get to appreciate about my life, right? What about you, Chewy?
Uh, for me, I think definitely it's I love because I think your example a while ago really paved way for my understanding, which is really what is that seed that you planted before that now has grown to what it is. And for
Mm.
me, it's I think taking up the decision that I will take a master's in counseling psychology. I remember the time that it occurred to me and the shock I experienced. And I remember walking into my parents' room and saying, "I will take psychology and I'll be responsible for it." And
Ooh.
to see where I am today, that I'm halfway through my program on the way to becoming a therapist, and very much happy with my experience.
Galing. I really love that. Congratulations, Chewy, on like getting past your halfway point. So I know na it will just be a little bit easier knowing that you've already crossed half of the journey then. Right. So I wish you all the luck there. Let's read off some of the responses here of people. Some are sharing that they're learning how to appreciate and celebrate small wins. They learn how to say no and create boundaries. One person is sharing, very lengthy. Now, my current internship saved me from the hopelessness that I couldn't get a job yet because I don't have any experience. So I decided to take things slowly and see myself grow. Right? I could see this person really embracing first uh, that reality na, they couldn't get a job yet. And then they said, you know what, maybe I'll take on an internship for now. And now that the internship has allowed that growth to happen, they're seeing na, I am actually on the way to getting
Right.
a job. Diba? Ang galing nun. Okay. I love that. Is there anything that you want to celebrate here?
Um. Oh, sorry, just seeing the making my son's dream into reality.
Yeah, that's really powerful.
So it's not just there can also be a milestone that we experience with other people, right? So and I'm sure this person getting to see their child grow up in a world that they
Mm.
would like to create for them is such a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I can also imagine that this parent,
Mhm.
really finds a lot of purpose in being a parent.
Right,
'Di ba? That
right.
to pinpoint na, my desire as a parent is to make my son's dream a reality, and for me to purposefully provide that support for his dream. That's a big thing. And I imagine now that you are noticing your life, you're seeing na, um you cannot only you not only partake in the life of your son and show that it matters to you, but you find ways to invest in their future then, right? That's really
Yeah.
powerful.
Maybe we can also move on to the next one. I think that'd be also very interesting to.
Yeah, great point there, Chu. So tingnan natin ngayon, no? A lot of people are sharing that same line of thinking about transitioning from their positive milestones. Can we now check in with you on this last uh uh second to the last Mentimeter question, no? Can you list down one negative milestone that made your life the way it is? Now, a negative milestone might feel a little different because it was something that we didn't want to go through, probably. Or we
Mhm.
found that it was super challenging, na it was unexpected, it turned our life upside down, we suffered a lot from it. But despite that suffering, we are able to hold ourselves out in a way na, you know what? It's really strong that I am here now. One example I'm reminded of kanina was yung someone got off their psych meds. 'Di ba? That is an example of a negative milestone. I feel very the same way about that, no, na I was able to break to go through therapy and go through all of the mental health meds, and then to graduate from that and feel na, being honest about my experience with anxiety helped me now take my well-being more seriously. That's a negative milestone, right? What about you, Chewy?
I think it was quitting my first job. I think it was a job that really could have brought me to great heights, but I think it was having the bravery to say that this really isn't for me. And no matter like what
Yeah.
the papers say, it so it was a negative milestone, but I also recognize that if it didn't happen, I wouldn't be where I am today.
No, totally. I can hear you there. So we're seeing a lot of people sharing now, no, na they're experiencing a lot of negative milestones, but it has impacted the way they live now. And
Right.
finding some sort of connection na, this is part of the reality of life, and we can now start embracing and accepting these realities. Right? Someone sharing, I experienced burnout and went to therapy. The anxiety of the future, had a miscarriage twice. I'm really
Right.
sorry for all of these. No,
Mhm.
untimely death of my favorite aunt. I discovered the trauma I had from childhood and how it affected my behavior as an adult. Heartache from unrequited love. Emergency surgery, retrenchment, having to
Mhm.
stop graduate school, being the only
Right.
daughter in my family, being scammed while job hunting, but it is what it is. Being away with my family temporarily, I need to sacrifice for their future, and now mission accomplished. Oh,
Mhm.
being a super
Mhm.
empathic person. What are you noticing from all of these, Chewy?
Not really a noticing, but something that came to mind that I just want to emphasize.
Mm,
When we talk about this discussion around negative milestones, and especially the topic of gratitude and contentedness, we're not asking to be grateful for the event itself, but I think we can look at it how we dealt or how we chose to rise up from these events. Because
mm,
it's not like we wanted to get scammed or we wanted to experience unrequited love. And those events in itself are horrible to experience. But we can appreciate and we can have gratitude towards how we eventually changed and chose to become something else from these events.
yeah, that's really powerful, right? That we see that these events in our life are real, and we
Yeah.
cannot change them any more than we could change our names, our birth dates, diba? But
Yeah.
the power thing about our control is that we can look at these and say, you know what, this had to happen for me to look at my life differently now, to have a sense of ownership of my strengths,
Right.
what I value, who my core person is, right? And knowing that these are all informing who I am as a person today. Really, really powerful stuff. And so thank you all for sharing and being vulnerable with us here in this session. We will just have one more Mentimeter to part our ways in this session. And it's really no na this is also a bonus in part of contentment and unlocking the key to happiness. It is not just about being grateful for today and for grateful for the things that are going to happen, and are also, and not just about looking at our past with peace and satisfaction and embracing that reality. Another hack that we can do, and we're all going to part with you with this gift, no, is to actually look forward to things and anticipate and really nourish the what's about to come. So let me now ask you, what is one thing happening in 2023, no, that you are most looking forward to? I can easily start. January kakasal na po ako. So wish me all the best. There's a lot of things coming my way, especially for the married life. And I could just imagine a lot of challenges, but also, you know, that transition from being boyfriend and girlfriend into having a very committed life as partners as one. No, so that's really really amazing for me. How about you, Chewy? What are you looking forward to in 2023?
I think it's not a big milestone, but I think hopefully accomplishing that marathon. It's something that I haven't thought I'd ever be able to do, 42 kilometers. But hopefully I speak to
Wow.
you in the future around February, and I'm speaking to you all saying I did it. Or if I didn't do it, at least I tried to show up.
Yeah, dude. I cheer for you. Sana magawa mo yan. Please take all the training and the rest that you need for it. So let's celebrate everybody else who's sharing what they're looking forward to 2023. This is our parting gift, our parang sort of our advanced New Year celebration of just embracing what we're about to take on for the following year. Maybe a promotion, someone sharing that they're going to get a job, they're going to be a licensed psychometrician, they'll take up masters in psychology, they'll be promoted, they'll get more sources of income, they'll take higher studies abroad, they're looking forward to financial freedom, someone's about to have a baby,
I
no,
also
they're
want to
looking
read
forward to
here,
that.
no,
Yeah, go ahead.
the to travel and attend Korean concerts. I'm with you to my
Oh
fellow
yeah,
midseas.
yeah, career promotion, more travels, enroll in a driving school, no? Kitang-kita natin yung iba't ibang journey ng ating mga joiners. No, people are sharing from all parts of their lives,
Yeah.
looking and hoping for financial freedom, expansion of our business, still being able to be an employee and business owner, enrolling in masteral. So we're seeing a lot of similarities with what people are looking forward to. So let's take a moment to just manifest them as realities for 2023. I hope all of them do come true. We wish you all the best. Yeah. So with that, thank you so much for your shares and for being all open and engaging with our discussion. And hopefully, you are walking away from our session a little bit more grateful and a little bit more at peace with how you look at your life. So, thank you so much, everybody. And we are now open for some questions. Gabby, take away that this section for us.
Thank you so much, Gio and Chewy, for making this a very meaningful parang year end, and for also closing off the 3-day well-being summit. 'Di ba? We really closed off in a positive and meaningful note. And I'm sure our listeners kasi feeling wala akong nakikitang naka-on yung camera. Kaya for this afternoon, if you have questions, we are now opening Pigeonhole. Okay, so let me just share the QR code with you. We are opening Pigeonhole so that you can ask Chewy and Gio the questions that you have about contentment, gratitude, and about everything that we discussed this afternoon. Iba talaga, Gio, no? Pag sinabi natin gratitude and contentment, no? Parang feeling lang natin it's about, dapat mag-thank you ka kung ano yung mga naranasan mo sa buhay. Diba? And
Mm.
sometimes it ends up in a negative light instead of it being seen as something that contributes to our well-being. But what we fail to
Yeah.
the negative also complements the positive. Na it also helps boost that positive feeling that we experience.
Exactly, diba? There's so much that we can do intentionally to boost that positive experience. So, like we said, well, like Chu and I talked about, we have to take that responsibility then of that 40% that belongs to us, and that pathway is yun nga, being grateful, being at peace with our lives, and just telling ourselves that story of how is my life better off because of the things that I had to go through. Right.
Mm.
So ayan, no. Do we have any questions that are popping up? I'm not going to be surprised if medyo nagmamadali na rin yung mga tao matapos yung araw nito because there's still a full evening to enjoy their holiday, di ba? So,
Yes.
ayun, can we check in? Baka meron tayong question.
Yan. So you can just quickly scan the QR code or type in pigeonhole.at/PW Wellbeing Summit 3 if you have any questions. But can I just read those who are in the chat box while we're waiting? So we have students joining us rin. Buti na lang din, no? Kasi since holiday, they have time off school. They can also
Oo
listen
nga eh, nakakatawa.
Yes.
and a
Yan.
lot of them are saying thank you. They're really full of gratitude, Gio and Chewy, for sharing what you know about gratitude and contentment in general.
Okay, I will have to
I'm a-
drop off, but I do wish everyone well. And Gio's you're in much capable hands to hear about maybe answers to your questions.
All right. Thank you so much, Chewy. Good luck.
Chewy.
Okay. I want to celebrate yung comment ni Gilda. Sabi niya, take away to be contented is to embrace things, either good or bad. That is so true. Totoo yan, Gilda. I want to celebrate that realization that you have from our conversation, and hopefully that as you approach 2023, you'll have a more open mind to really just embrace things as they come, either good or bad. Be thankful for them, and as you look back to your life, you go, you know, they are what they are, and I you can make sense of the stories that we tell ourselves, right?
Yes. And I think na even if they don't have questions, I think they really enjoy the different exercises and alam mo yun, being engaged in the conversation with you and Chewy. Thank you
Exactly.
so much, Gio.
Of course.
Ayan. So kung madalas nga kayong nag-a-attend ng webinars, you'd know na Gio and I opened this year's webinar back in January.
Totoo yan.
And they're happy to close it with you guys. So we hope that you learned a lot during the past 2 days of our summit. Grabe, ang dami nating na-cover. We are now starting to define what employee well-being is in the Philippines. And you've learned different hacks, di ba? In the different domains that we are currently studying so that you will also improve your well-being in your own organizations. So as we close this afternoon, we hope that you continue following us on Facebook so that you will be able to see ano pa yung mga free webinars, ano yung updates dun sa research na ginagawa namin. Dahil sa totoo lang, hindi nyo alam kung gaano kadami ang i-share pa namin sa inyo this coming year. Diba, Gio?
Exactly. There are so many things coming your way. I-look forward po natin yan katulad no huling Mentimeter, but also from the bottom of our hearts, as you continue to follow us, we want to just acknowledge how your following has been most meaningful and has been most contributory and impactful to the vision and mission of Positive Workplaces. So to everyone here and to all of those of you who are going to watch this in YouTube as a follow-up, or maybe even if you're not here, we send love your way, we send gratitude your way. Thank you all so much for being with us and for continuing supporting Positive Workplaces. Please continue to do so for the years to come.
Yes, thank you for that, Gia. And we shared the links on the chat box. So if you're not yet following us on Facebook and LinkedIn, please do so. And now we are going to share with you our evaluation form for this event. So to get your e-certificate, please scan the QR code, and we're also going to share the link on the chat box. And please make sure to fill out the right form and alalahanin nyo your name, the title, the name, and your email address para matanggap nyo yung e-certificate once you have accomplished the form. We love hearing your inputs, and we hope now we get to work on the different topics that you want us to discuss and share with you. So, ayan.
Agawin ko lang saglit, Gabby. I
Go
want to
ahead.
just take a moment while Pauline is here and she's
Go
still with
ahead.
us. Pauline sharing na it has been a great year with Positive Workplaces. Alam mo, Pauline, it has been a magical year to have you join us in every webinar, workshop that we could possibly provide to the public, no? Talagang avid supporter, kulang na lang gawin natin siya influencer ni Positive Workplaces or brand endorser na Positive Workplaces. So Pauline, we want to also take this time to thank you and really appreciate you na because of the work that you because of how you show up in our sessions regularly. We also feel that we are very much content with the work that we're able to provide, the advocacy that we're putting forward, and syempre yung impact na napaprovide namin sa ating public. 'Di ba? Nakakatuwa that people are showing up consistently to our sessions, and we just know na there's so much that we can give, and people are receiving that really well. So thank you. Ayan, no, sabi pa nga ni Pauline, I am such a fan. You guys make so much sense. I love that.
Totoo. And in line with that, Gio, I'll also mention some of the names that we keep seeing each and every month.
Go ahead.
Ana Margarita Alviar always is attending. Actually, hindi nga lang attending. She always gives insights and shares insights with her co-learners. Yeah, we appreciate your presence here. Pati si Angelo.
Thank you.
I just can't see his full name right now, but Angelo also always attends our webinars.
Yan. So sa inyong mga laging dumadalo, no, we cannot be more grateful about your support for us, and parang simula pa lang ng taon, may Christmas gift na ang Positive Workplaces sa inyong present. So please continue to do so, and please share the word. We would love for more of you to be repeat learners sa aming mga session. So gayahin nyo po sila, Pauline. Sila ang example natin of those fans of Positive Workplaces to really pull through and support our organization, because at the end of the day, we're all contributing to co-creating cultures that enhance the well-being of the Filipino workforce.